I'm Karen Bohn, and we are in my kitchen in Edina, Minnesota. And volunteerism to me is making things happen, where if you didn't do something, nothing would happen. For as long as I can remember, if there was a need in the community, somehow my family, my parents, or my aunts and uncles, somehow we would be there doing something about it. And so there was always an extra spot at the table, an extra bed in the house, or a place to lay down and spend a night or two if we needed it. And we even had different kids living with us before, the whole foster system was very well organized, but kids that needed a home. I think my very first one was probably collecting for UNICEF instead of getting candy on Halloween. So that was both good and bad, but also I was a brownie Girl Scout, and I think one of the first projects we did as brownies, we were in a brand new school and we planted a tree in the front of that school. And not too long ago I drove by that school, now 50 years later, and the tree still stands. It's a mighty fine tree. And a big part of the culture at Piper Jaffray at the time, inspired by Bobby Piper, then the chairman of the board and CEO, was to be involved in the community. And when I started in the corporate finance department, I got to know a lot of people right away, including Mr. Piper. And when he and his senior executive, kind of executive assistant, found out that I had a background in family and child counseling, they said, oh gosh, we need to get you plugged into Washburn Child Guidance Center. So I was getting off work every Tuesday afternoon at 4 o'clock and taking the bus down Nicollet Avenue to Washburn Child Guidance Center, where I was working either in groups or one-on-one with kids who had the need for some sort of help and intervention in their lives. I had the grounding in my education of the liberal arts and performing arts and psychology. That all translated very, very well to the corporate world, because it's about practice, and getting a goal and working towards that goal and teamwork. And I think really that's the way volunteerism works, and how my role in some of these organizations has been the most satisfying to me, and perhaps most impactful for the organization, is that recognition of teamwork and volunteerism. They're really one and the same. I think also the business skills that I developed in the corporate world certainly helped me to analyze, frame up problems, frame up solutions, think about things in new and creative ways. As I traveled to Kenya in March, what I saw over and over again was the tremendous importance of women in not just the family structure, but the structure of society. I've been thinking about the world's problems in that context. You think about the environment, for example. Every problem with the environment basically comes down to population. We have too many people with too few resources. And you think about what could be done to change that. And I think it's about educating the women. I think if women knew that they had the ability to have more control over the number and timing of their children, I think if women everywhere could be educated, I think women could be a huge change agent for this world. I hope that my legacy lives on in my own children. And I hope that that legacy is that they will do what they can do. They've been given so much. and they need to give that back. And I think if I can emulate that for them and help them to understand that that's what they need to do to help this world make a better place, I think that will be my legacy. I think if there's ever a way that people can incorporate service into the learning environment, that they should watch for those opportunities. If you're going to do a project for a scout group, for example, why not have it be something that creates an opportunity or a better life for someone else? Tie it in with the curriculum. If you're a teacher, if you can tie it in with the curriculum in your classroom, very little acts of kindness can make a huge difference. If we don't do it, who will? If you sit it back and say, oh, that's somebody else's problem, terrific. But you know what? If everyone had that attitude, the world would just fall apart. We have to do what we can do. And I think that when people do what they can do, there are rewards beyond measure for them. The things that I've enjoyed the most are organizations around children and organizations that really can help people to empower themselves and their lives. I'm not as excited about handing things out, but rather teaching people to help themselves, giving them the skills and the resources to be able to help themselves. That's where I get jazzed.